Well, the clean-up operation is underway in Hull after violent disorder at the weekend saw shops damaged, bottles and bricks thrown and fireworks set off.
A group of community volunteers have started to tackle the damage and restore their city, as Jake Zuckerman reports.
It was an evening of violence, disorder, criminal damage and looting on a scale not seen in Hull in recent times. Shops and cars were set ablaze, a hotel housing migrants and a local mosque were targeted.
It's mindless. I can't get my head around it. I don't understand the thinking about, behind it. Why would you go destroy places, set places on fire?
We're not afraid because we know that it's not everyone, it's a few people that have created this issue.
I just wanted to come and stand with the people of Springbank and just let them know that they matter and that people do care.
I think there's a better way of communicating your anger, channeling it for force for good.
You're under arrest on suspicion of Section 4 public order.
Police say that 25 people have been arrested as a result of the disturbances in the city and that 11 officers were injured.
We need to remember this is a small minority of criminals. They will face the full force of the law. They will be brought to justice. They don't represent us. The majority of people are good and decent.
As businesses count the cost of the damage, the council and local MPs are now working to restore a sense of calm and normality to the city after a day of trouble.
That was Jake Zuckerman reporting there. We're joined now by Humberside Police and Crime Commissioner Jonathan Evison. Jonathan, morning to you. Thanks for being with us. We're seeing images like that, astonishing images from towns and cities across mainly England, we should be clear. What do you make of what happened over the weekend? Well, it's very, very distressing, and of course we mustn't forget the impact that this is probably having on the families of the three young children that were murdered. But what we're seeing is violent behaviour, thuggery, opportunism on the back of what is, loosely being called a protest. It wasn't a protest. It was an attack on the centre of the city of Hull by people that are not interested in the politics. They're interested in hooliganism, is what they're interested in. I've got to say, I thought the police handled it quite well. Certainly in the early stages, things were going well, and the response from the public has been tremendous. The Assistant Chief Constable, Tom McLaughlin, he wrote obviously a press release, which was an awful lot more eloquent than mine. He's a better wordsmith than me. And literally hundreds and hundreds of likes and people being very positive about, well done, police, we care passionately about you, you've done a good job for us, and very few negative comments.
You've been speaking to, obviously, police officers that have been involved, that have been organising it, trying to tackle it. What are the particular challenges with something like this, which has happened so quickly across the country? Nobody really knows which towns, which cities there are going to be issues. What challenges does that put forward for the police? And let's not forget the social media aspect.
Sure. I mean, this has been social media enabled. A lot of it's been enabled through the social media, encouraging people to come to the city of Hull. I mean, the other thing we mustn't forget is that we've had a big uplift of police officers. A lot of the police officers in Humberside Police have less than 5 years' experience. None of those police officers have experienced anything like this in the past. It's not happened for 10 years. We're talking about 2011, the last time something like this happened. So it's completely new. So I have enormous respect for how these young people actually, as trained officers, behaved and operated in that really, really difficult environment. And the public's recognised that. And the other thing that is really heartwarming is I was down in the city. I met with the Chief Executive of Hull City Council. I was down in the city just 7 o'clock in the morning yesterday, just seeing what has happened. And the council had done a fantastic job. There was a clean-up underway, and then at 10 o'clock, literally dozens of local people volunteered to actually come and clear some of the. And they're angry. They're really annoyed that this could have happened.
There are clearly different motivations around what has happened and who is perpetrating these crimes in these towns and cities. Donna Jones, who's the chair of the Association of Police and Crime Commissioners, suggested yesterday that those involved in protests are doing so, she says, to protect Britain's sovereignty, the need to uphold British values, and in order to stop illegal immigration. Those comments have since been removed from that website. But does it speak to a
more deep-rooted, a more fundamental issue in some towns and cities across the country, that people feel very disconnected from opportunity, from growth, from, to use the politician's phrase, levelling up. And those are issues that also need to be addressed, quite aside from what we're seeing here in terms of just thuggery and hooliganism. Sure. There are underlying fundamental issues.
There are. Lots of people feel left behind. I spend an awful lot of my time. I mean, the Police and Crime Commissioner's role is actually quite a diverse role. Yes, we do scrutinise the police, but I also run projects. I had in my last term over 200 projects. 65 were youth-orientated projects. 45 were CCTV, and a combination of lots of other projects to try to give people an opportunity. But be under no illusion. This was thuggery. This was hooliganism. Very akin. I mean, neither of you are as old as I am, but very akin to some of the stuff that we saw in football hooliganism. And we've got the same types of people doing that sort of thing. And we need to do some of the stuff that we did in those days.
Is there a danger, therefore, that some of this just overshadows what are real concerns for people? That this takes all the headlines, all the attention, all of the police resourcing, and actually maybe more fundamental concerns that people have are relatively ignored right now?
Well, yes, but there's an awful lot going on. I mean, it's not just me that does these sort of work. You've got the whole City Council, you've got the community safety partnerships. The police do a lot of this. But I would think probably one thing, you know, as far as younger people are concerned, is sometimes they're in a situation where there is absolutely no hope. And hope actually spurs you on to do something. And that's some of the things that, as a Police and Crime Commissioner, I'm trying to put back there. We could do with more youth clubs. We could do with more, you know, good quality, sensible adults that they can experience things from.
Jonathan Evison, Humberside Police and Crime Commissioner, thank you for coming in.